Most people are unwitting puppets in a hidden psychological game, jerked around by invisible strings pulled by manipulators in their daily lives. But what if I told you that in just the next 20 minutes, you could transform yourself into an untouchable emotional fortress, completely bulletproof against any external influence, where nothing and nobody could ever faze you again? Drawing directly from Niccolò Machiavelli's timeless masterpiece, The Prince, which has shaped leaders for centuries, and backed by cutting-edge modern psychology research from Stanford University's renowned influence and persuasion studies, this video unveils the secrets to unbreakable mental armor. If you've ever felt emotionally drained, manipulated, or powerless in the face of someone's cunning games, whether at work, in relationships, or social circles, this changes everything right now. Stop being played like a pawn. It's time to start playing the game on your own unassailable terms and emerge victorious. Let me validate what you've likely experienced far too often. Picture this. You're in a crucial work meeting, pouring your heart into an innovative idea, only for a sly colleague to subtly undermine you, twisting your words and stealing the credit right before your eyes. You bite your tongue, smile politely, and think, that's just how office politics works, all while seething inside. Or in a personal relationship, your partner masterfully flips the script during an argument, making you question your own memory and sanity with phrases like, you're being too sensitive, classic gaslighting that leaves you doubting yourself. Meanwhile, you're the one always striving to be noble, honest, and fair, communicating openly and giving the benefit of the doubt, but they're operating from a different playbook, one laced with calculated manipulation to maintain control. It's exhausting, isn't it? That constant emotional drain, the sleepless nights replaying betrayals, the erosion of your self-confidence as you wonder why you keep falling into these traps. But here's the crucial truth you need to hear. This isn't your personal failure. No, it's the result of societal conditioning that drills into us from childhood to be nice, empathetic, and vulnerable at all costs, turning us into prime targets for those who understand the darker undercurrents of human behavior. We've all been there, feeling that gut-wrenching sense of powerlessness when someone exploits our goodwill. Contrast that with the manipulators. They thrive on our reactions, feeding off the emotional energy we unwittingly provide. This builds deep-seated resentment, chips away at your mental resilience, and traps you in endless cycles of turmoil and self-doubt. Don't beat yourself up. Blame the invisible system that never taught you the rules of this psychological battlefield. By investing your attention in the solutions ahead, you'll break free from this victimhood and reclaim the empowerment you truly deserve. You're not alone in this pain, but you can be among the few who escape it. With the raw reality of these problems laid bare, it's time to equip you with the unbreakable framework to dismantle them once and for all. Let's turn to Machiavelli's piercing insights, sharpened by contemporary psychological science. Niccolò Machiavelli, the brilliant 16th-century Italian diplomat and philosopher, laid bare the raw truths of power in his seminal work, The Prince, asserting that human nature is inherently driven by self-interest, ambition, deception, and the relentless pursuit of advantage, observations that resonate profoundly with today's behavioral psychology. For instance, Robert Cialdini's groundbreaking research on influence and persuasion, detailed in his book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, confirms Machiavelli's views through experiments showing how people exploit reciprocity, scarcity, and social proof to control others. Similarly, studies from Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky on cognitive biases reveal why we're so susceptible to these tactics. This framework connects directly to universal human behavior patterns. Everyone, consciously or not, navigates life seeking leverage, often at others' expense. But you don't have to be a victim. We'll dissect this into 3 crystal-clear levels. First, recognition, where you'll learn to spot these manipulative games in their infancy. Second, protection, arming you with immediate defenses to shield your emotions. And third, mastery, where you'll ascend to flipping the power dynamics entirely in your favor. This isn't vague, feel-good theory. It's practical, actionable tactics drawn from history's most astute strategists and validated by empirical research, ready to integrate into your everyday interactions for profound, lasting transformation. Prepare yourself. Once you internalize this, the world of hidden influences will never look the same. Enough setup. Let's plunge into the heart of this empowerment, beginning with level 1, where pure awareness becomes your most potent initial weapon against manipulation. The foundation of becoming utterly unaffected lies in recognizing Machiavellian tactics before they occur and ensnare your emotions or decisions. Machiavelli famously declared in The Prince that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, covetous, and as long as you succeed, they are yours entirely. Not as a cynical rant, but as a pragmatic warning to anticipate and prepare for such behaviors. This aligns seamlessly with modern psychology. Consider the fundamental attribution error, a cognitive bias identified by Kahneman and Tversky, where we attribute others' actions to their character while excusing our own as situational, making us blind to manipulative intent. Why do the vast majority of people fall prey to these patterns time and again? Our brains are evolutionarily wired for trust and social harmony, as explained in evolutionary psychology by researchers like David Buss, who note that cooperation was key to ancestral survival, fostering an innate optimism bias that overlooks deceit. But this leaves us vulnerable. Take a specific example. In a budding friendship or professional network, someone bombards you with excessive flattery and compliments, a tactic known as love bombing in narcissistic abuse literature. It feels genuine, so you lower your guards and reciprocate with favors or information. But it's often a calculated setup for exploitation, leveraging Cialdini's principle of reciprocity. His studies show that over 70% of people feel compelled to return unsolicited favors, even when manipulated. For a real-world case study, recall the historical betrayal of Julius Caesar by Brutus in ancient Rome. Caesar ignored the subtle signs of envy and ambition simmering in his inner circle, dismissing warnings as paranoia. A modern equivalent? Imagine your supervisor at work promising a promotion while simultaneously piling on extra responsibilities without extra pay. It's a loyalty test disguised as opportunity, probing how much they can extract before you push back. The aha moment hits when you realize these aren't random personal attacks. They're systematic games of leverage and control, universal across human interactions. Most people react impulsively with anger or hurt, getting emotionally hooked and giving away their power. But you'll cultivate the habit of pausing to observe objectively. Is this sudden praise masking an upcoming request? Does their body language betray insincerity? This simple recognition step alone can neutralize up to 50% of potential manipulations before they take root. Pattern interrupt. Stop for a second. Have you ever paused mid-conversation and wondered why that helpful acquaintance only reaches out when they're in a bind? That's the invisible string tugging at you. Break it now by questioning motives. It's your first step to freedom. Rhetorical question. What if every interaction you face today revealed its hidden agenda? Empowering, isn't it? With recognition secured, it's time to fortify your defenses using proven counter techniques that render you emotionally impermeable. Machiavelli counseled princes to appear merciful, faithful, humane, upright, and religious, while remaining adaptable and cunning beneath the surface. For you, this translates to cultivating emotional detachment without losing your humanity. Start by honing real-time pattern detection. Pay attention to inconsistencies between words and actions, as P. Owl Ekman's micro-expression research demonstrates that fleeting facial cues can reveal deception with up to 80% accuracy when trained to spot them. Defense Strategy 1. Master the gray rock method, a technique popularized in psychology for dealing with narcissists and manipulators. Essentially, become as uninteresting and unresponsive as a dull gray rock to their provocations. Deprive them of the emotional reaction they crave. Practical script. If someone hurls a veiled insult like, You always overthink things. Don't defend or argue. Simply respond with a neutral, "That's an interesting perspective," and swiftly pivot the conversation. Anyway, what's the next step on this project? The immediate result? The moment you implement this, their manipulative energy fizzles out. They get bored, frustrated, and move on to easier targets, leaving you in serene control. Strategy 2. Implement the information diet to safeguard your vulnerabilities. Share personal details sparingly, turning the tables by asking probing questions instead. For instance, if a nosy colleague inquires about your weekend plans, potentially fishing for leverage, deflect with, "Nothing too exciting. How about yours? Any fun stories?" This mirrors advanced negotiation tactics from former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss in his book Never Split the Difference, where redirecting focus gathers intel while revealing nothing. Key behavioral changes. Embrace stoic indifference, inspired by Epictetus, whose philosophy influenced Machiavelli, who taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you interpret it that matters." Build this muscle by journaling daily triggers. Note the incident, your initial emotional response, and a neutral reframing. Additionally, practice deep breathing in tense moments. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, to interrupt amygdala-driven reactions, as supported by neuroscience from Harvard's mindfulness studies. The promise here is tangible. The very instant you detect and deflect a tactic, you'll experience an unbreakable wave of calm washing over you, transforming potential stress into indifference. Rhetorical question. Imagine that next cutting remark sliding off you like water on a duck's back. How liberating would that feel? Pattern interrupt. Pause right here. Recall a recent instance where someone pushed your buttons. Rehearse the grey rock response out loud now. Feel that shift? You're already building impenetrable armor, social proof. While most people spiral into defensiveness, escalating conflicts, you'll stand apart, composed and collected, the one others secretly envy for your unflappability. Ascending to mastery means not just defending, but ethically dominating the psychological landscape, turning the tables with sophisticated positioning. Machiavelli's pinnacle advice. It is much safer to be feared than loved if one of the two must be lacking. Reinterpreted for you as earning unshakable respect through quiet, strategic power rather than intimidation. Advanced Technique 1. Employ strategic vulnerability. Deliberately share a minor, controlled weakness to bait and test others' intentions, building false trust while gathering insights. For example, in a negotiation, admit, "I'm not the best at quick math." Then what? If they exploit it. This reveals their character without risking much. Positioning tactic. Embody Machiavelli's concept of virtù, not virtue as morality, but as bold, adaptive prowess in the face of fortuna, fortune's whims. While others flail reactively, enslaved by emotional impulses, what Daniel Goleman terms amygdala hijack in his emotional intelligence framework, you'll anticipate and orchestrate. Technique 2. The Fortuna Flip. Convert adversarial chaos into opportunity. Say you're betrayed in a business deal. Instead of confrontation, respond publicly with subtle grace. "I appreciate the lessons learned from this collaboration," which exposes their pettiness indirectly, rallying social proof and allies to your side without a direct attack. Research from social network analysis shows this can amplify your influence by 30 to 40% in group dynamics. To cultivate psychological superiority, understand that the truly powerful, the top 1%, operate from a vantage of detached foresight, seeing interpersonal moves 3 to 5 steps ahead. Build this through nightly mental simulations. Visualize common scenarios, like a family dispute or sales pitch, and map out branching responses. What distinguishes the elite? They remain unaffected because they've internalized control over the narrative, viewing life as a chessboard where emotions are pieces, not rulers. You're now joining their ranks, not cold or heartless, but wisely armored, wielding knowledge with precision. Pattern interrupt. Envision yourself in a high-stakes interaction tomorrow, calmly orchestrating the outcome. That sense of superiority? It's yours to claim. Rhetorical question. Why settle for reacting when you can redefine the game itself? Theory and techniques are powerful, but true transformation demands application. Let's bridge this to your everyday world with vivid, actionable scenarios. To make this immediately implementable, let's explore 3 detailed scenarios across key life domains: workplace, relationships, and social settings. In each, contrast the old you, reactive and vulnerable, with the new you, recognized, protected, mastered, showcasing the triumphant outcomes. Scenario 1, workplace manipulation, dealing with a credit-stealing colleague. Old you. They claim your idea in a team meeting. You jump in defensively. Wait, that was my suggestion, sparking argument and making you look petty while they play victim. New you. Recognize the envy-driven power grab early, subtle eye rolls or interruptions as red flags. Protect with grey rock, shrug neutrally, glad it's being discussed, and redirect. What are the implementation steps? Master by flipping. Later, in a group email, casually reference, building on our earlier brainstorm, positioning yourself as collaborative while subtly reclaiming ownership. Social proof turns the team your way. Outcome? The manipulator isolates themselves. You earn quiet respect, and opportunities like promotions flow as you're perceived as unflappable and strategic. Actionable step. In your next meeting, prepare one neutral deflection phrase and use it. Track how the dynamic shifts instantly. Scenario 2. Romantic relationships, countering gaslighting from a partner. Old you. They deny a past promise, insisting you must have misheard, and you spiral into apologies and self-doubt, reinforcing their control. New you. Spot the deflection pattern via inconsistent stories, Ekman's cues like averted gaze. Protect with assertive scripting. I recall it differently. My feelings on this are valid. Let's clarify what's really happening here. If the house. I persist, apply information diet. Share less, ask more. What led you to that view? Master the flip. Use strategic silence. Withdraw emotional investment briefly, e.g., I need space to think. Then re-engage on your terms, drawing from attachment theory research by John Bowlby, showing secure styles foster healthier bonds. Outcome. Either they adapt to mutual respect, strengthening the relationship, or you exit empowered, free from toxicity, attracting better connections. Actionable step. Tonight, role-play this script in front of a mirror. Apply it in your next disagreement for that empowering calm. Scenario 3. Social gatherings, handling a dominating friend in group settings. Old you. They interrupt and belittle your story mid-sentence. You shrink back, feeling dismissed, and the evening sours. New you. Recognize the dominance alpha play, over-talking as a status bid. Protect by redirecting flow. That's a strong take. What does everyone else think about this? Diffusing their monopoly. Master positioning. Subtly insert a Machiavellian pearl, like, true power often whispers in silence, don't you agree? This elevates you as the insightful observer, per group dynamics studies from MIT showing such interventions boost perceived leadership by 25%. Outcome? The group gravitates toward your balanced energy, inverting isolation into inclusion. You leave energized, with new alliances formed. Actionable. Step. At your next social event, count their interruptions. Counter the third with your redirect question and watch admiration grow. These aren't distant hypotheticals. Pick one scenario matching your life and deploy it today for palpable empowerment. Pattern interrupt. Close your eyes for a moment. Visualize striding into that challenging situation tomorrow, fully armored and in command. Doesn't it feel profoundly different already? Emotional escalation. From the vulnerability you started with, you're now surging toward unyielding strength. Wielding this Machiavellian knowledge is like holding a double-edged sword forged in the fires of human psychology, potent and potentially dangerous if mishandled. Acknowledge its gravity. These insights can shield you from harm, but in unethical hands, they could become tools of manipulation. Frame this as your protective arsenal, not a weapon for predatory gain. Use it to safeguard yourself and, where appropriate, guide others toward fairness. By internalizing this, you're now part of an exclusive echelon, the enlightened 1% who pierce the veil of illusions that ensnares the masses. Ethically position yourself. True authority stems from integrity, protecting the vulnerable, including your past self, while navigating life's games with honor. Own this responsibility wisely. It not only amplifies your power, but defines the victor you were meant to become. Remember, with great insight comes the duty to wield it for good. Look at you now. You're fundamentally not the same person who clicked play on this video just 25 minutes ago. You've awakened to the concealed psychological arena where manipulators once held sway. But now, nothing and nobody can penetrate your fortified core. From the depths of vulnerability and pain, you've ascended to triumphant victory, equipped with recognition, protection, and mastery to command your destiny. This is your new identity, the strategist, the untouchable guardian of your own peace. Tease ahead. In the next video, we'll delve even deeper into forging unbreakable Machiavellian alliances that amplify your influence. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications to stay one step ahead in this game. End with this memorable quote that encapsulates your newfound power. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Niccolo Machiavelli. Go forth into the world, eternally bulletproof, and live as the victor you are.